Well, Norwich City have a new manager, but the same outcome for the Canaries.
Not the actual new manager, but an interim manager.
Someone new. How's it going?
Alan Russell's set-piece army.
You know what, Chris? I came on here the last time. It was 13 days ago, our last podcast, and I was upbeat, I was jolly, I was excited for Christmas.
And now?
And you have officially taken all optimism out of me. Just being in your company has brought me down.
Well, mate, I'm sorry, but...
It used to be the other way round.
I know.
You used to uplift me. Bring me hope, joy.
Maybe by the end of this podcast, you'll have some hope and some joy injected into you.
Do you think?
Who knows?
How was your Christmas?
Lovely.
Yeah, nice time. Did you get any Norwich City presents?
Yeah. I got the classic.
Brilliant.
I got the classic 2023.
It was January. Big Angus.
Yeah, got the Cal ready.
Who's February?
Angus Jan. This is always an interesting one.
I'm going to guess.
Do you read into the Norwich City calendar?
A little bit. I want to go Nunes for February.
No, Team Pookie.
Okay, starting strong.
Well, or Pookie's being sold in January, and that's why it's February.
Well, surely you'd put him January.
That's the rumour. Jordan Hugel for March. I mean, we're not going to go through the whole year, are we? That'll ruin the surprise for you lot that have got...
I didn't get a single Norwich City present this year. I usually always get something. Nothing.
Well,
nada.
I'm sorry to hear that. Did you have a nice Christmas?
Yeah, it was lovely.
Yeah?
My mum watched our last podcast.
Right.
And about the Christmas dinner chat.
Okay.
And she listened, and she didn't boil the sprouts this year.
Well,
so my
good.
Christmas was absolutely brilliant.
Well done
she
to
roasted
Mama Eve for roasting your sprouts.
We're drinking tea because I'm on a bit of a fitness
fitness
hype. No beer in January.
In January.
And I'm running 5k every day for Mind.
Well done. North Waveney Mind.
I'm 2 days in, I'm gagging for a Guinness and my legs hurt.
And I believe people can still actually get involved in that. People can still get involved in that challenge.
They can, or they can donate.
Yeah.
Well, more importantly, I'm doing it not necessarily to raise money, but to raise awareness, I think.
Yes.
For Mind.
Both
and
is
Mind are always
great,
there, because January is always a bit of a meh month, isn't it?
Agreed.
I said Guinness, I meant Lakens.
Obviously.
I love Lakens. And you do too.
Yes.
20% off, link in the description. Nor, that's nearly selling out. I had a message from Colin the other day, slow down.
Really?
We can't keep up with production. Yeah. They haven't got enough cocoa beans.
Well,
15% off.
They haven't got
Link
enough
in the
cocoa.
description.
They haven't got enough cocoa beans, and we haven't got enough talent.
Yes. Life is good other than Norwich, and
yes, agreed.
When we say that Norwich City are bad at the moment, that's probably an understatement. Do you want me to say something controversial straight off the bat?
That's unlike you, Jack, to be controversial.
I think today's performance was a regression from what we saw under Dean Smith.
Really?
Yeah, I really do think that. Can you think of a clear-cut chance?
The thing is, Jack, is I actually can't... This is the thing I've said over and over again. I actually can't... I wish I could... I said so many things you disagree with, you now can't be asked to argue with? No, it's not that I can't be asked. I'm always asked. The thing is that Norwich City aren't giving me an excuse to defend them at the moment, on and off the pitch. And what we saw today, I mean, obviously there's lots to talk about.
We're filming this after the Watford game, literally straight after.
I mean, that was turgid, wasn't it?
It wasn't great. I think
seriously turgid.
Yeah, so... I mean, we haven't spoken about Dean Smith getting sacked. Let's start there.
So what's on the agenda? We've got to talk about Dean Smith getting sacked.
Yeah.
Shacked, as I said there. Reading, draw. Watford, loss. Who's the next head coach? Twitter questions, of course. There's so many.
Yeah.
So many.
Well,
so quite a packed agenda tonight.
So Dino gone. I mean, after that, it was after Luton, wasn't it, on Boxing Day? I mean, that was properly turgid. Really bad.
But it
was classic Norwich. Equalise.
Yeah.
Luton go down to 10, and you're like, oh, we might come back here.
Honestly.
And then still find their way to lose. I'd actually forgotten about that, and now I've just remembered it. And just remembered how bad it was.
And look, it had been coming. It was a case of when and not if, for probably at least a month, I would say. As much as obviously Stuart's come out on Sky, and by the way, I'd encourage people to watch the full interview
with Stuart Webber,
because I do actually think there were a couple of bits in there where I was like, fair play, which I'll go on to in a minute.
Well, it's nice to just see him again and hear from him.
But one of the things was around the fact that he basically had to get rid of Dean Smith because, well, it was again a bit of a comment about the fans. But anyone with a football brain would know that Dean Smith's time was up.
Yeah.
Probably longer than we held out for.
What was the turning point for you?
I think,
was it that defeat before Christmas or? Borough, when we lost, was pretty damning.
Yeah. I mean, for me, this season, my optimism ran out after we lost at home to Luton.
Yeah.
That is a shocking result.
We've lost twice to Luton.
Yeah, and I think, obviously the away game was the farm nail in the coffin. You and I called it, I think it was a week and a half before it actually happened, wasn't it? Because of the Luton game and when we did the pod before. But look, it's nothing personal against Dean Smith. I think ultimately he came in at a time where I think Stuart mentioned this in his interview today, we'd just lost 10 games in a row under Daniel Farke. He that can do no wrong, Daniel Farke. And of course, to take over after a legendary manager that had won 2 titles was always a big ask. Most Norwich fans, in my opinion, were patient and gave him the opportunity to be like, oh, do you know what? Fair enough.
And it started okay under Smith.
It did. But the wheels quickly fell off the bus. And I think it's one of those ones, Jack, where it's like, it is what it is. But the thing that almost saddens me about the Dean Smith shaky, if you want to chuck him in era, that was a laugh, wasn't it, whilst it lasted, was there wasn't really a I don't think apart from Watford away, there was a moment where I'll go, oh, do you remember that time under Dean Smith?
Yeah, that's true, actually.
It was only Watford away, but the reason why it was Watford away, really, let's be honest, was because we were a shower of shite before that. So, look, it's done, it's gone. I really hope that now us, the fans, can move forwards as one and sort of put that behind us. But what I would say, Jack, is being in the Lower Barclay today, we need to talk about the atmosphere as well. City Elite, big up, we'll get onto that in a bit, I'm sure. Was that I almost am looking around today and I'm like, yeah. And now you realise. Because I think a lot of supporters had put all of their blame and eggs in the Dean Smith basket. Dino, it's your fault. Dino, you're shit. Your tactics aren't good enough. The problems run deeper. And there are many fires that Norwich City's put out, and it was never going to be a silver bullet solution, as I've said 1,000,001 times, to sack Dean Smith. But yeah, it'll be fascinating to see who we bring in next. What's your reaction to Dean Smith sacking?
Well,
Jack?
I think I haven't watched the Stuart Webber interview in full with Sky. First of all, nice to hear from him and nice to see him. I think often a lot of these problems are extinguished fairly quick if you just talk.
Yeah.
Even if you disagree with him, it's just nice to hear from him. I think it was interesting when he said, like,
front up.
They didn't really want to sack Smith, but the fans kind of. Yeah. And I think that was evident in the timing of the sacking, because if they wanted to sack him, you'd do it pre-World Cup, because you had a month of warm weather training, time on the grass. Yeah. And I think Connor sticks out when we had Connor on. He said, like, there's limited coaching time in this league because of the intensity and the way the schedule's landed.
Connor Southwell, you say?
Connor Southwell, yeah.
Southwell, sorry, Connor.
Southwell. So that was an invaluable time, and we missed that opportunity. Look, I was probably one of the longest standing Dean Smith supporters, but even I could see at the end that this simply wasn't going to work.
Yeah. But when you say Dean Smith supporters, I'm going to sort of actually defend you here for once. I think you were kind of saying, look, the league's shit.
Yeah.
We've got some decent players that can show quality if they're laid out in the right way, which they weren't in the end. So I don't think you were massively like, oh, Dino's the best thing since sliced bread. But I actually think that you were just trying to choose to be optimistic, and I admire that.
Yeah, and I think the reason that I had a tiny bit of hope throughout the whole Dean Smith era, and particularly in the Championship, was we were creating, like, in my opinion, clear-cut opportunities in most games, and it was just our inability to score them that cost us. In both Reading and the Watford games, we barely had a clear-cut chance. We had a one-on-one against Reading, where Timu fluffed his lines. It was a bit of quality from Adam Eder more than a clear-cut chance that gave us the goal in that one. And against Watford, There was nothing.
I mean, Sarah,
what was it?
Sarah hit the top left, didn't he, from a free kick towards the end of the game, but by then it was already done. The lads had dropped their heads.
I mean, I think the only thing we have learnt over the last 2 games is that I think going into them, Alan Russell was a viable option in terms of next permanent manager. In terms of... No, just listen. In terms of... He wouldn't have cost the club any money. He's got a bit of pedigree. But I think we've learnt now that he is definitely not going to be the next manager. The thing that got me is, yes, Norwich conceded late against Watford, right? 86th minute. There was always going to be a lot of added time because of the amount of injuries Watford had. There was 10 minutes, so we had 15 minutes to try and get an equaliser.
Yeah.
No subs. No changes.
Madness.
We looked so defeated. And you're just looking and going, there was enough time for 2 more goals.
But Jack, even before that, the sub should have come on.
Yeah.
And I know, obviously, Big Andy came on for Max Aaron. So
that was an injury.
And I thought, by the way, considering Max was unwell, I thought Max actually had another really good performance.
Can't deliver a cross, though.
I thought Max was very good, actually, today. Was sad to see him go off, unfortunately. Big Andy then goes to cover. But we just looked void of ideas, which is not necessarily a massive problem. But the thing that blows my mind, which I've been told from the inner Norwich City circle, is they ain't running enough, Jack. They're not running enough. And by the way, everyone's favourite scapegoat, Kenny McLean, okay? Today it showed. It showed we really lacked a ball winner in midfield, but also someone that can progress the ball forwards. Just a bit of energy in the middle of the park, but critically, leadership. Grant Hanley is not that man. He is not the captain that we need. I'm sorry, I'm saying it now. I'm sure a great guy behind the scenes, but on the pitch, he's not that guy. He's not that guy. And Kenny, we missed Kenny on the pitch today massively.
I think it's interesting you mentioned the running because I listened to Alan Russell's post-match interview as well as Ben Gibson's, and one of the things they said they did well was run. And it's like, but I'm kind of with you here. I think off the ball, when we didn't have the ball, yeah, we pressed and we pushed and we huffed and we puffed. It's with the ball.
Yeah.
You've got, I don't know, Liam Gibbs or Hanley, whoever on the ball, and they're looking round. No one's moving. Really simple, find space, offer yourself up.
Yes.
And having said that, offer yourself up. And I don't like digging out players, but I'm gonna do it here. Really, really disappointed with the complete regression of Marcelino Nunez, who started bright. Although, to be fair, I think there was a lot of hype and looked fine. I like getting carried away. People like getting carried away. His little dink in the cup game was nice. But he gave the ball away a lot at the start of the season. Now, when he gets the ball, he just loses it straight away. And there's just no willingness to offer himself up. And I was looking at him going, there's a player in there somewhere.
Yeah.
But my goodness, you're not showing it.
I can't defend it today. It wasn't good enough. The one thing I would say with Marcelino Nunez is I believe that this is a case of Mario Vrancic syndrome. It's going to take him a season to warm up. And I know there'll be Norwich fans listening and watching this now. We don't need a season to warm up, and I agree. But that's what we've signed, so we have to apply the patience there. There is a quality player there. We will see it. He's adapting to the English game, but you're right. The key thing today, which was so disappointing with Marcelino, is not offering himself up, not coming to the defence to helping them out, not moving enough, in my opinion. Obviously, not fully reviewed the statistic yet, but from my eye, and maybe the people watching would agree or disagree, yeah, it seemed to me like Marcelino had an off day today. I mean, but I wouldn't say complete regression, because my defence of him, Jack, is that he's clearly a player that was doing fantastic in the 10-game unbeaten run, was scoring free kicks, was dinking pens in the cup, and there was clearly a player that was developing there. But I think, unfortunately, just with what was going on, he's been a player that's been badly impacted by what's going on. Much like Todd Cantwell, who's a player that's been impacted by what's gone on, both in the Premier League and also the Championship.
I mean, we talk about disconnect between fans and club. The disconnect between the defence and the midfield is the worry at the moment.
Bloody Nora, mate.
Whenever Gibson and Hanley have the ball, you're just looking and going, there is nothing on for them. They're either having to lump it long into Adam Eder on the wing, who's kind of getting a chest to it, and then there's nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just really, it still is really pedestrian. I think there's been a little bit more impetus on like kind of crispness in passing. There's been little movements where you go, oh, okay, there's something there in the last couple of games. But for me, the only thing I've learned in those two outings against Reading and Watford is that Alan Russell is way out of his depth in the managerial position. And I guess you can add Steve Weaver into that because it is a two-man band. Where do Norwich go from here? Because now, I mean, I haven't actually looked at the table. I suspect we're...
Mate, I don't want to look at the table.
Have a guess where we are.
I don't know. It feels like we're 20th, but I'd say maybe... we're 13th?
We're 11th.
Okay.
And yet we're still only 3 points off the playoffs. But it is mad, isn't it?
I love that.
Norwich, I saw a stat. Did you see the stat for NCFC
and
numbers?
That's why it's good that a new manager coming in can actually see that and go, well, actually, hang on a minute. These players are mainly two-time title winners. Yes, they've been relegated a couple of times as well. There is some quality there. We are in touching distance of the playoffs. So maybe a manager looking at us would be like, oh, okay, there's an opportunity here.
Do you want some stats that will blow your mind?
Are they depressing?
Yes. Thanks to NCFC numbers. Since the 4th of September 2022, there have been more UK Prime Ministers than Norwich City home wins. 3 versus 2. Norwich City's current form against top half teams in the last 4 months, played 11, won none. And the 6 points from Norwich's last 9 games at Carrow Road is our worst return at home at this level since 1999. Which includes a championship relegation season in there as well.
Oh, that's awful. That's horrible.
Yeah. So,
Steve, damning. NCFC numbers, I hate that.
I love that though. More UK Prime Ministers than
that's so depressing.
You did mention there though, Chris. Go on.
I was going to say, and I really want to bang this drum.
We're now 20 points behind Burnley.
I want to bang this drum as loud as I can. Yes, the football might not have improved since Dean Smith has been removed from his position, but the atmosphere definitely has.
It's been great.
Credit to City Elite, and I'm so pleased, and I really want to emphasise this, I'm so pleased that the club have woken up and have actually just got on with it and stuck the drum where it needs to be, which is in the crowd in the Lower Barclay. What a difference it's made.
It does make
and I bet you there's people out there, I'd love to hear, do you know what, I want to hear from you. If you were anti-drum, are you still anti-drum? By the way, I know it's not ideal, right? You know, of course you want to be able to sing without one, but I bet you there's a lot of people that were anti-drum that have seen it in the last 2 games and they've gone, oh, actually, do you know what, I'm quite up for it. Mate, it's like, never mind Mercy nightclub. It's like Barclay nightclub. I'm like bouncing. I'm like vibing.
It is good, and I must say, drums can be really shit, but fair play to the lad who's playing it because the guy's got a bit of rhythm.
Absolutely, super. No, genuinely, it makes a massive difference, and it does make a massive difference to the players on the pitch, 100%. So, fantastic work, City Elite. Thank you for waking up and smelling the coffee. Norwich City Football Club, and I hope it continues and they make sure that City Elite are in the Barclay drumming every single game from now on.
So Alan Russell's set-piece army is probably going to be no longer because it looks as if Norwich will have a new manager by the next time they play at Carrow against Blackburn in the Cup. Where are we at with that? The rumours are suggesting it will be Mr. Wagner.
Yep.
Who I keep thinking of that chap. Remember him on the X Factor?
Yeah.
Wagner. I keep thinking of him.
By the way, what an
absolute
nutter he was. By the way,
legend.
All over the show.
Hopefully, David Wagner knows a little bit more about football than the Wagner of X Factor.
Yeah.
If the rumours are to be true, happy?
Well, I think there's a few things on this, Jack. I think David Wagner is a very easy head coach for Stuart Webber to shake the hand of. But I don't think it would be fair for us to maybe just label it with that and then that's the end of the conversation. What people I think have forgotten, and I certainly hope that the Daniel Farker Can Do No Wrong Brigade, they actually look at this and realise that actually David Wagner was the real trailblazer, okay? Because he did it before Daniel Farker, and arguably that was the blueprint that Stuart Webber followed with Norwich because he'd already done it with Huddersfield.
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting. And by the way, going back to that Stuart Webber interview, I'll come back to David. going back to the Stuart Webber interview, watch it if you haven't. Sky Sports, I think it's on their YouTube channel. And he said, I didn't realize. This is what I was like. I'm so pleased that Stuart Webber showed some vulnerability and actually just opened up about this. He was like, I didn't realise how important it was for a head coach or manager to have a connection with the fans until we didn't have it. So he has said Dean Smith didn't have it, and obviously Daniel Farke had that in an abundance, which we loved. And so I think David Wagner would bring that, and I think that's really important. I've seen clips of him with the Huddersfield fans and stuff. Obviously, I'm doing the classic YouTube compilations, getting carried away already. I don't think it would be a bad appointment. No. I think people see it as a lazy appointment, but I would... well, first of all, I'm going to get behind anyone. I think that's a really important message to convey, Jack. Let's put the negativity behind us and get behind anyone at full volume, 100%. The only one I'd struggle with is Steve Bruce. But David Wagner, mate, I'm up for it. I think also if you look at his previous clubs, I was chatting to a couple of... it was Nev Townsend.
Legend.
Yeah, I was chatting to the Forces to Canaries boys today, and they were talking about his time at Schalke and how it was just a bit of a funny old football club at the time. And also he was at what's it called? Young Boys.
Young Boys, sorry. Who beat United.
But Young Boys were all over the shop as well. Like, I think their chairman got done for racism or something, and the players all wanted out, and it was just a bit of a weird time. So yeah, I'm quite up for it. Are you up for a bit of David?
Yeah, well, I am actually. I think in terms of where we're at as a football club, he's probably the best we can get. Because I think
fair comment.
My assessment has been from the off, we're not going to get any manager that's currently contracted to a club because I think we just can't afford it.
Yeah. Unless Mike and Mark open the wallet up.
Open it up.
Please.
So that already slashes a list into quite a short one.
Yes.
And in terms of, like, I loved what Wagner did at Huddersfield. I thought he was really progressive. I remember watching that Huddersfield side, and particularly in the Championship, going, these are really impressive.
Yeah, fair play to them, yeah.
I was watching a really good video from Tifo Football that broke down Wagner's tactics.
Yes.
Really suits what we've got. Loves attacking fullbacks. We've got that in McCallum and Aarons. Loves playing low balls. Loves playing through balls. That's what Teemu Pukki thrives off. So in terms of a squad, I think we've got exactly what he needs.
Yeah.
I think the only thing I would say is it feels as if this is now a longer term project, because I look at it and go, like, I don't think anyone's coming in here just the way that this season's gone. And I am a believer that we've got talent in this squad. I'd be surprised if he was able to just turn things around instantly.
Absolutely.
Just because the rot has gone so deep.
I think so, Jack, and I think I agree with everything you've said there, except from the fact that David Wagner would be able to instantly get something out of all of these players, because we know now that you've got players there that are out of contract, that have wanted to leave the club for 2, maybe even 3 seasons. You've got players that are simply not good enough, that just aren't at the quality that we need to get promoted, never mind stay in the Premier League. So yeah, and we've got players that have been mismanaged, and players that just need a fresh challenge. And so the question now, Jack, I think on top of who we hire is, what sort of vision do you have here? Like, are you going to go for like an instant sort of like almost firework? Like, I'm here and it's going to be my way or the highway, and almost Alex Neil factor, like a fiery, crazy guy to just like literally just batter the players? Or are we going to be like, right, let's be honest, this season's done. We ain't going to do it with this squad of players. So then do you get a younger manager and think long term? Or maybe it's not as black and white as that. Let me know in the comments section.
I think the pleasing thing is, in my opinion, we can't get any worse. And yet Norwich are only 3 points off the playoffs.
Yeah.
So you're right. I think when Alex Neil came in that season, we got promoted. I think we were lower down than where we are.
That was a class season,
unbelievable.
by the way.
I think we were... But he's gone in a very similar trajectory. Neil Adams started well. We beat Ipswich. I think we were top of the league for a little bit.
Yeah.
Then the rot happened, probably a little bit late to sack.
Yeah.
Alex Neil came in, fireworks. Yeah. I think we can wave goodbye to the top 2. I think that's gone.
Oh, God, yeah.
But in terms of the playoffs, you win 2 games, you're back in it.
And it's a lottery, isn't it?
And I look at this squad and I go, they're more than capable.
Yeah,
it's not that we're. I've seen a lot of people going like, the quality's not there. I'm not buying that. We've got the best. I think we've got one of the best strikers in the division in Timu Pukki. We've got a fantastic goalkeeper in Angus Gunn.
Yeah.
You've got Max Aarons, who I know hasn't been amazing this season, but he's Max Aarons.
Much improved of late as well, by the way.
You've got Dimmy Anulis or Sam McCallum.
Yeah.
I actually think Dimmy's better than Sam McCallum.
Can I just have a quick pause on Sam McCallum? I was first half today.
He's gone to shit since he had his haircut.
First half, I'm buzzing. Sam McCallum, putting in big challenges. I think he squared up to one.
And
I want to see that fight. People know I love a bit of passion, and that's what I wanted to see. That was absolutely bloody superb. And then, oh my God, I felt for the lad, because when he's tried to clear that ball and he's just sort of sliced it up in the air, I've gone, oh no. And then of course he puts that big sliding challenge in, and I'll tell you what, if he'd touched Sarr,
well, he wouldn't have scored.
It would have been a red card, 100%. Yeah. So I do feel a bit for Sam today, but I think he's got a bright future for sure. Anyway, sorry, continue on.
The concern for me, I think we've got capable forwards. I think we've got capable defenders and goalkeepers. Midfield, because I'm looking at first half. Liam Gibbs, I don't think had a shocking game. I think he was great.
I thought Liam Gibbs was brilliant today.
I thought he was going to get sent off, and so I'm going to Craig. I'm going, like, who should we bring on? Yeah. And he's like, we don't have another midfielder. We've got Kieran Dowell. Well, he's not going to play holding midfielder, is he? Yeah. Should we do some Twitter questions?
Yeah, go on, let's.
Right, Twitter questions.
Yeah,
plenty as always.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lots to get through today. So let's start with Total Norwich, who says statement/rant.
Okay, yeah.
Ready?
Yeah, ready.
I wouldn't be surprised if we get relegated this season.
Whoa.
We need 20 points from 20 games to stay up. Yet we've only won 4. Wow, I didn't realise this. We've won 4 of our last 17. That's bad, isn't it? Webber has to go, and this has to be Delia and Michael's final season before the Ataniozos take full control.
Ataniozos? Say their name again.
That was a stick.
Ataniozos. The Ataniozos.
I got to Atan and then realised I'd fucked it.
Yeah.
Ataniazo.
And by the way, I admire the fact that you tried to style it out. You tried to style it.
Atanasios.
Chris hasn't noticed. Oh, I noticed.
And so he's saying they have to take over soon, and that's if they don't pull out before that.
Well, do you know the Ataniozos taking over cannot come soon enough. That is going to be absolutely outstanding.
Yeah.
You know, the interesting thing I'm sort of thinking in my head is that I'm sort of thinking that they might be able to somehow get it cheaper by Norwich not actually going up this season, right?
Yeah.
So it's an interesting thing to put in the room there. I am not surprised that people are now, because obviously the easy target was Dean Smith. Now they're moving to Stuart Webber. I think that I'm surprised actually that I think it's very obvious that Dean Smith has taken a lot of the flack for lots of people, the board, the players, Stuart, for a long time. And now, of course, Dean Smith isn't there, and you can hardly blame the set piece coach and Stevie Weaver. That, of course, Stuart's getting some blame. Do you know, honestly, I think my thing is on this, I would encourage people to watch the Sky Sports interview. The only thing he did, there was a bit of a fan poke, but ultimately he admitted that it was time for Dean Smith to go. And actually it was sort of a backhanded compliment, because by saying that it was the fans that sort of because obviously it was that atmosphere against Blackburn that was like, it was so toxic that they were left with no choice. It was almost like a backhanded compliment of, actually, yeah, the fans do come first, and it is the fans that we're here to entertain. So
I kind of want to see Webber just soften up a little bit and just like admit failure sometimes.
Yeah,
I think that would be quite refreshing. It always seems with Stuart, and
he has done that at the end of the seasons.
But I often fear when he does do that, it's often like in a slightly aggressive tone. Be like, well, just blame me then.
Right. Okay.
Rather than like, okay, this is why we made a mistake. This is what we're trying to do to rectify. Just a bit of love about the place, you know.
Yeah, I don't know where that's at, to be honest with you. I think it's a very complicated situation, I think, actually.
Next question.
Go on. So my first question is from Finn Bassett.
Oh,
hello, Finn.
What a name.
Notice how everything went wrong when the soccer bot got installed. Hope Smith took it with him. The soccer bot is still just...
The poor old soccer bot.
The soccer bot is just banter, isn't it, really?
My favourite soccer bot moment was when it was literally used as a photo background. Remember?
Right.
When they just took photos.
My favourite moment was when it came out that Billy Gilmore got the highest score, and he was fucking awful for us.
I watched
that
Gilmore
season.
for Brighton the other day, and he's still just as bad.
I know. And by the way, I'm pleased that the Brighton fans are getting some, by the way, because they gave it large. Oh, it's because Billy Gilmore was at Norwich and Norwich is shit. No. Billy is a long way off it.
Cameron says, don't lay all the blame with Stuart Webber. We've spent more in the last 2 seasons than ever before, but relative to money in football, it means absolutely nothing. Recruitment, poor, yes, but only because our hands are constantly tied by our lacklustre funds. A constant across our failures comes down to our ownership.
Yep, can't disagree. We've got another one here from Andy Emrich, name of the pod so far. Oh, handle. His Twitter handle is @Spandex Warrior.
Wow, welcome back. We've had Spandex Warrior before. Yeah,
Let's
look at his picture.
Yeah, I mean, he loves it, doesn't he? He just absolutely loves it.
Legend.
Up the old Andy Emrich. Statement. Not winning is always shit, but the atmosphere at the past 2 matches has made it more bearable. There was even chanting in the River End today.
Was there?
No matter what happens in the back room, I really hope the drum stays and that the fans keep pulling together. Well, I think it's evident today that even after seeing what we saw, obviously the drum was helping massively, but we were together. The lower Barclay were louder in the last 2 games, despite the fact that Reading, we saw green shoots. Like, it was slightly better, slightly more proactive football. But Watford was just as shit as it always has been this season.
Where are you at with going to Canaries? Are you still enjoying it? Because I spoke to a few lads today, and they were like, I'm not renewing.
Well, look, I think it's a really interesting thing, right? And it'll be fascinating to see the next few weeks how it happens. Obviously, season ticket renewals are
Is that coming up? When is that?
I don't know, but they're coming up soon.
Yeah.
And that's going to be really interesting. First of all, it's going to be really interesting to see what Norwich City put as their spin on it. I don't know how they're going to get people...
if they put the prices up.
Well, I don't know how, by the way. They're going to get people to renew... by the way, I feel like we always say this when we've been a little bit shit, but people still renew, don't they? But
we have this conversation every season.
But I do think there'll be a big churn.
And I think money's tighter for a lot of people this year as well.
Well, that's my point. Money's tighter, cost of living, and also as well, we're already, I think it's the 11th, possibly the 15th most expensive season ticket for this. It's not good. So that'll be interesting. But yes, and the atmosphere, we've already spoken about it. City Elite, the drum, the lower Barclay.
The drum's been
really good. That's great. That's really, really, really good.
Toby Smith. I don't think I've ever met a Toby that's not just like a solid person.
Yeah.
Just like...
Toby.
Toby's the type of person, you say I want to go for a coffee at 3, Toby's there at 5:02.
Yeah, lovely.
He says, with Ramsey out for months, we haven't mentioned this. Such a shame about Aaron Ramsey.
Yes, it is.
Because I thought he'd actually been fairly good.
Yeah, me too.
And then gets injured in training. Well, we won't see him in an orange shirt again.
The Ramsey Railways.
Toby said, with Ramsey out for months and Hayden not himself, surely we get them 2 out and free up 2 spaces for new signings.
Again, it'll be so interesting to see what happens in January. I don't expect Norwich to sign anyone. However, to contradict myself immediately, given what's going on with Ramsey and Hayden, potentially they'll manage to... Maybe the new manager will somehow manage to flirt or bribe with a few of his mates to come for the rest of the season. I don't know.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because part of me thinks, wow, this is a really bloated squad. The other part of me goes, we haven't got midfielders to bring on. I think we've got like really dense areas of the pitch that we have quite a lot of players in, and then others where we're just nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that we've gone a few weeks where Cantwell hasn't even been in the squad just blows my mind.
And let's bring that up because Joseph, his handle is @Joseph7677574. I hope that's not your phone number, Joseph. If it is, I apologise. Don't
give him a ring.
Statement: whoever comes in has to get Toddy in the squad performing, so we actually have a player to give Pookie the chances he deserves. Look, I agree with this wholeheartedly, Joseph. I think that I'm really gutted for Todd that he's not got more game time under Dean Smith this season. He's certainly been fit, and I think what you've brought up there, Joseph, is bang on the money. Todd is the only creative player that can consistently work with Timo effectively. Yes, Dowell has done it a couple of times, but I say a couple. It's been a couple, but it's been a couple, isn't it? So yeah, I think that's true. We have to get more out of Toddy, 100%.
You know, and so Todd needs to be selfish as well for his own career, because he's gone from a player that was ripping up in the Premier League week in, week out to not getting in squads consistently. He had the same at Bournemouth. It's been here. I love Todd with all my heart. I think he's on his day a brilliant player. I think he's a lovely man. But he just needs to get his head down now, because it could get to a stage this summer where he's not getting signed.
It'll be interesting. Very interesting.
And that would be a crying shame.
Fingers crossed. Evan says, rant. Why on earth didn't we sack Dean Smith during the World Cup break? Obviously, you've mentioned that, Jack. Yes, it wouldn't have solved all of our problems, but at least we would have had a head coach in with a clear vision, not an interim. I think we've already spoken about that, Jack, really.
Yeah. I think we all probably knew deep down that they didn't want to sack Dean Smith. It got to a point where they had to. Look, in an ideal world, you would have got someone in pre-World Cup. I think what they probably looked at was they've gone Luton away, Blackburn, Luton, Reading, Watford. They would have hoped that Dean Smith would have won probably 3 of those, and then you're in a bit of a better situation. In the end, we've lost 3 of them.
I thought they were going to give him until the end of Jan, and I thought we were going to sort of botch it, because, and I know I always say this, the teams we're playing, they're fucking shite.
It is a really bad
They're
league.
So bad, and that's what makes it more annoying. I've always said this, especially when in the Premier League. Concede a goal from the edge of the box, or a really well worked goal, you sort of stand there, you go, fair play. But all the goals we've conceded this season, in my opinion, have been from individual errors, just silliness, individual errors.
Well, even against Watford, like a full strength Watford with no injuries is actually quite a good side. But they've got 15 players injured. Yeah. My friend, I'll show you.
And I agree with you, Jack. And I'm not buying the, come on, they are Watford. No. How many players injured?
My friend who's a Watford season ticket holder texted me at 1:30.
Yeah, go on.
I said, I won't lie, mate, I'm utterly trembling at the prospect of 3:00. And I said I wouldn't worry. And he was like, I cannot believe that we've been lost the last few weeks.
That says a lot. Christine Dye always comments. Thank you, Christine.
Hi,
she says, given the most recent performances, which player would you drop to the bench and which would you give a start to, and why?
I'd take out Nunez.
Yeah.
I think he offers nothing at the moment. And I would bring in, on today's performance, Kenny.
Yeah, bang on. Totally agreed, mate. Yeah. Totally agreed. Do you agree? Let us know in the comments.
Let's have a bit of positivity.
Yeah, go on.
Harvey,
please.
Statement. New manager bounce will inject belief and we romp the league. All aboard HMS Piss the playoffs.
Hang on, who said that again?
Half.
I'll have 10 pints before you're drinking, my man. It's not going to happen.
HMS Piss the playoffs has got a ring to it, though.
Okay,
could we maybe? Could we lean into the sailor hats again? Who knows?
Keith and Away
Keith
is their name on Twitter.
God, I love Keith.
They are not happy with Stuart Webber. They say Webber doing exclusive interview with Sky, arrogant. Whole club seems really poor at the moment. New manager needs a magic wand. If Wagner's appointed, just looks lazy by Webber. Total reset required.
So Keith wants a bit of Wagner's wand.
He wants Wagner's wand, and he wants Webber out as well.
Webber's wand.
So there
Webber's
you go.
wand could cross with Wagner's wand, and we have a beautiful wand, a long wand.
Yeah, let's move on from long wands. Goods. Okay, please.
David Little.
Yes, go on. What's he saying?
David is a freelance accountant and Norwich City supporter. Look at David.
Top man.
The guy loves a tax return.
You just look at him and you think, top man.
David thinks, as well as doing your tax returns, that we need to do a total clear out and get rid of the old guard, bring in younger, more athletic, energetic players like Lambert did.
Well, yeah. Also, maybe players that don't think they're bigger than Norwich City Football Club. I don't think.
But you always have that issue when you go to the Premier League.
I know.
Like
for example, I've seen a comment here about. Here you go. Is that Willie?
Willie's one.
Sorry, Willie War or Will.
Let's
Yeah,
have a
I
look.
think it's Willie War. Says, I think we need Rashica back, and I disagree with that. I think he was never a good fit for Norwich City. I think he's a player that...
He's got a cracking goal at Charlton.
I think he thinks he's better than Norwich City Football Club. Anyway, my point is, going back to that question, I'm loving the young and hungry shout. I think that's great.
You want Tompkinson at centre-back.
But I also want players that... Because that's what Lambert did well. You know, the Mark Tierney's of the world. You know, players that really want to prove a point. I think that's what I would like to see. Of course, McCallum, unfortunate today, but did show what he can do in the first half. And I think that Liam Gibbs is the best thing since sliced bread. Yes, there was a couple of misplaced passes, but today, the tackles, the energy, the enthusiasm, like that's what we need. And he is, at the moment, a BTEC skip. And I'm very excited by Liam Gibbs. More players like that, please.
I would agree to it. I think Liam Gibbs is very erratic. That's how I'd describe him.
Okay.
Ben says, statement.
Yeah.
Stuart Webber simply has to take more blame. And then he's appointed a manager because he was sacked, waited 6 weeks too late to then sack him, wasted £60 million in 21-22, has left the squad massively unbalanced. We've become ordinary, stale, and without a plan.
I do agree with his final parting shot there. Yeah, I mean, that's evident.
And then Jordan said, Webber, has he stuck around too long to see himself go from hero to villain?
Someone's also spoken about what's his 5-year plan as well. And
you either die a hero or live long enough to become a villain.
That's the quote, isn't it?
That's the one, isn't it?
I sort of think, I don't think Stuart's ever going to win back the Norwich fans, to be honest with you.
Stuart Sayer, we like Stuart. I saw Stuart at Parkrun yesterday.
Yeah, go on. I was about to read that question out. Go on.
I saw Stuart. I was a bit hungover because it was New Year's Eve. I went Parkrun New Year's Day.
Yeah.
And I saw Stuart and I felt revitalised. He says Pookie is a fabulous finisher.
Yes.
It is criminal how he's been starved of through balls for over a year. How we've retained his services, I simply don't know. The value of a Vrancic, Stiepermann, Buendia type supply chain seems obvious to everyone other than the recruitment team. I think that's so true. Yeah. It pisses me off how little we get Pookie off the shoulder.
Yeah.
Every single time,
like today,
barring one, he gets the ball and his back's to goal.
Like today, Jack.
Feed the goat.
Yeah.
We're not feeding the goat and we're expecting a nice plump goat.
It's
dying. It's starving.
Yes.
I can see his rib cage.
Yeah. And we like a bit of goat curry here in Norfolk, and we ain't getting the goat curry.
No.
But what I'd say about this Watford game today, I'll go as far as this. It was pointless playing Pookie. If you are going to play in the way that we played, if you are going to play in the way that we did today, trying to get crosses into the box, there's no point. You may as well stick Jordan up to try and win the headers.
Yeah, agree.
But I think it's got to the point, Stuart, well, it was at the point, definitely last season as well, that actually we've not played to Pookie's strengths so much that Pookie's very evidently not been himself, and that's why he wants off.
I like this from Ted. Ted provides a statement.
Go on, love that.
What manager do you think Ted wants at Norwich City? His name's Ted. Ted's a solid bloke who just wants the job done.
I reckon... Oh, really? Do you think... I saw Ted as like a Mark Robbins type.
Oh, no. So Ted, statement. The only manager I want is Sean Dyche.
Wow.
Went 23 unbeaten in the Championship with Burnley, then kept them up for 10 years on a low budget. It's an absolute no-brainer.
Do you know what makes me laugh about the Sean Dyche shouts, though? How can people go, yeah, but okay, look, and by the way, do you know what I do?
I don't want Sean Dyche.
I really want a manager with a bit of character that can connect with the fans for sure. And don't get me wrong, I think if Sean Dyche was your Sean Dyche, you'd become connected with him. But I don't understand how people can go from being like, boo, Dean Smith, to Sean Dyche. Like, for me, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I think we need to flip from one to the other. I think we need to go back to what Norwich fans fell in love with under Daniel Farke.
Can I just read another question?
Of course.
Because what our viewers are really good at is just as I'm about to feel a bit more optimistic, they make me depressed again, and I really enjoy that.
Yeah, go on.
FBL Oakley says, our two most expensive players are both wingers. yet we play 2 strikers on the wing.
It's honestly crazy, isn't it?
The man through the middle being Pukki
Crazy.
is one of the most intelligent and best strikers in the division, yet we don't play to his strengths.
What about this?
It is mental. Jolish and Rashica, Oakley's referring to.
I think Craigo showed us in the Barclay today. Milo is going to go to Galatasaray, basically. I think it was 10 million quid quoted, rumoured. Not sure if that's true or not, but that's what I've read. But would you get Zolis back in the room, and would you get Ballymumba back in the room? Because the other thing that's happened of late around Peterborough and that transfer activity with, I think it's their striker that used to be with us.
Plymouth. No?
Sorry, what did I say? Peterborough. Sorry, I mean Plymouth. Sorry.
Let's start with the P.
I have had one beer today. So my question to you is, would you bring Zolis back? Would you bring Ballymumba back?
I think I'd bring Mumba back. I think he'd be an asset. I don't know about Jolis. Maybe.
Bit of spice. Play with an actual winger.
Yeah, possibly. I hadn't actually seen this, but is this Northern Ireland Canary? I think so. Yep. Has tagged us. I've just lost it.
Oh.
Basically, Alan Russell was saying that Isaac Hayden hasn't been himself this last week, and then someone was saying that maybe he's refusing to train.
I cannot see. Well, look, I don't know the facts here.
Maybe he's thrown his toys at the pram because the manager that brought him in is gone.
Yeah, I cannot see Isaac Hayden refusing to train. One of the things that Newcastle fans lauded him with when I asked the Newcastle fans what's he all about, they spoke about professionalism, work rate, big tackles. I can't see him not turning up to training. I can't. But
it's weird for a manager to say that.
Good shout, Jack. That I do think that. I think it's Hayden, and obviously Ramsey would be so disappointed that Dean Smith's been sacked. So
Ramsey's gone now.
Yeah, be an interesting one to watch develop. It's not looking glamorous. I am just placing all my chips on red with this new head coach, and I really, really, really hope that we get it right. And it will be interesting to see who they go for. And I think it will tell us a story, Jack. How ambitious are they? Do they want to be promoted this season? What will the new manager say when he does his first press conference? What sort of belief or expectation management will he put into the room with us Norwich fans? It's going to be a fascinating week when it obviously all comes out, when it's official. Yeah.
One last one from Andy.
Go on,
question.
Andy.
Can Norwich City still be classed as a community club given the clear arrogance shown from the board? Continuing sly digs at fans, not speaking to local media, not explaining what's happening, no accountability, all appears to be ego-driven. Is this what Delia wants? Whoosh.
It's an oosh. But
Oosh.
It is an oosh. Oosh.
You know the thing...
I can't... The thing is, I wish with all my heart I could back them up, but I can't because of their actions.
Yeah.
I can't because of their actions, Jack. Like...
I think the thing I really liked from what's his name? What's our new interim manager?
What's
Russell?
Stevie
Alan
Weaver
Russell.
or Alan Russell?
You've confused me because you chant Russell Weaver.
Russell Weaver, yeah.
What I liked from Alan Russell, not Russell Weaver, is that he said in football nothing's ever as good as you think and nothing's ever as bad as you think.
Okay.
And I quite liked that because it just levelled you out a little bit.
Okay.
And I needed that.
I don't like being levelled out. I like getting carried away.
I assume you're up for the cup.
Yes.
I'm not.
I assume you're not up for the cup.
I would.
Mate, I am, because we'll have our new gaffer in charge.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll see a bit of spark. Use it as an opportunity
Maybe this is the one cup game I wouldn't mind winning, actually, because we do just desperately need to win.
I hate how you're anti-cup.
We've never done well in a season where we've actually progressed with a cup.
I'm sorry, Jack, but our history is in the cup, okay? We won the Milk Cup, so you need to put some more respect on the cup's name, okay?
Sorry, on the Milk Cup's name.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be great if it was still called the Milk Cup.
Would it?
Yeah, I think I'd like that more.
I think the Milk Cup sounds a bit pony.
No, I like the Milk Cup.
Okay.
Well, that's that for this week.
Sorry it's been another depressing one, folks, but it just is
Who
what it is.
have we got next in the league? Blackburn in the cup.
Trying to switch off to it, to be honest with you.
We've got...
Preston North End away.
Oh, God.
That's a horrible fixture.
Then Coventry away.
Ooh.
Then Birmingham at home.
Ooh.
Birmingham.
Birmingham.
And then actually, we've got quite a tough few weeks. Preston away, Coventry away, Birmingham at home, Burnley at home. Oosh.
But do you know what? But do you know what? And I know people laughed at me when I said this, but like before, we should be beating Preston away. We should be beating Coventry. I know Coventry had played well, and I am complimenting you for once, Coventry, because you were a fucking pub team at Carrow Road. But
they've been good since then.
But they have been the team in the Championship, apart from Burnley, that have impressed me the most this season. Yeah. So, but come on,
I must say,
pull yourselves together.
You very rarely make me laugh. But when you commented on our last podcast that it's Blackburn, not effing Barcelona, that was actually quite funny.
Yeah, but it's true.
Yeah.
Come on, don't let your...
What, is there a good team you can go? It's Preston, not effing Palermo.
I'll have one
Panathinaikos.
No, Paraguay. Oh,
there we go.
Yeah, let's stop talking.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, cheers.
See you again soon.
Next time we speak...
We'll be out with the FA Cup, and Wagner will have his wand out.
Up the Wagner wand.
See you later, everyone. Bye-bye.